Dr Gerlis.
Simon, yeah.
So what do you make of these figures? Are we going back, do you think, into lockdown possibly in the winter? That's what everyone's asking at the moment, isn't it?
Definitely not. If you look at these figures, the actual numbers of positive tests has been fairly stable for a while. They're not cases, they're positive tests. And here on the front line, we are seeing a few, mainly in school-aged children who went back to school earlier this month, but they're not getting ill. In fact, a lot of them are completely asymptomatic. So a positive test is not the same as a case. What you do need to look at are the hospital admissions and the number of people actually being treated in the hospital. The death rate for yesterday was exceptionally high, but the previous 2 days had been low. And you do have to average these out and put into context that something like 1,700 people a day die in this country. So the majority of the deaths, the vast majority of the deaths, are people who are extremely old, extremely vulnerable, and who any other year would have been dying of other respiratory illnesses and not COVID. So all in all, I'm very optimistic. We will definitely not have another lockdown. I came in on the tube early this morning and people are not wearing masks. And I think that's probably okay. That's probably people learning to live with this virus, which the vaccine has now transformed it into a mild virus that doesn't kill you and doesn't send you into hospital.
Laurence, good morning to you. It's interesting you say that because there are a lot of nasty bugs that seem to be going around that aren't COVID. I was on the tube yesterday. Yeah. I've got a cough. You're terrified to cough in public at the moment, aren't you? But there's a norovirus bug that's going around, and presumably you're on the front line. You're seeing this firsthand.
Seen that. I mean, yes, we've certainly seen children with norovirus, which is a bit distressing because there's not a great deal of treatment you can give them. In terms of a normal September in London, I think we're seeing the normal number of other respiratory infections. I don't believe there'll be a flu epidemic this winter because I think that the coronavirus has really pushed out all the other severe respiratory viruses, and we're not seeing a huge number. It's just normal. I mean, it is normal for winter. People have good levels of immunity. Bear in mind, having 2 vaccines will boost your immune system generally. And if we can get through to half term later next month without the numbers going up, I actually think we're going to have a good winter as far as COVID and other viruses are concerned.
That's good. That's very good news.
But a lot of people are reporting that they've got shocking colds.
I was just going to say this. I call it a ghastly cold. I was unwell with it last week. My son went back to school and passed it on.
She's passed it on to others.
No, it was going around here as well, Laurence. But the question is, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, is it COVID?" I mean, even my mum went, "Oh, I think you've got COVID." I went, "Well, I've done about 6 tests and they were all negative." So what do you do?
Yeah, I mean, the lateral flow tests are surprisingly accurate, very accurate indeed. And I think certainly whenever patients come into us with a cough, we ask them to test before they come in, and we won't see them face to face if they've got a positive COVID test. But as I said, it's not abnormal for this time of year. Normally in September, up to a third or half of our work is dealing with respiratory infections. I work in central London. It's a city. It's polluted. It's particularly bad. But I actually think, in a sense, that's getting back to normal. The embarrassing thing, as you say, is anyone who coughs is automatically seen as a pariah, whether you're on the tube or anywhere else. So I don't see this as abnormal in any sense at all. And I think if we could put COVID into the same category as these other respiratory viruses and learn to live with it, we should be able to get through this winter.